Stubble burning, specifically in North India, contributes to 36% of the pollution. Then construction work, which is happening in these areas like Gurgaon and all those developing areas, that contributes to about 30%. And emission from vehicles, specifically diesel vehicles, contributes to 28%.
Hello, namaste, and welcome to Chitty Media. My name is Sharan Sethi, and you're watching the Current Affairs Show. I hope all of you had a wonderful and a colorful and a bright Deepavali festival. Now, since it's the time of Diwali, you have a lot of woke activists coming out and fighting for climate change. While at a very conscious level, this is acceptable, there seems to be a hypocrisy attached to it because they only seem to be very active and try to be seasonal Greta Thunbergs only when there is a festival, that too a Hindu festival, to discuss more into whether firecrackers were a part of our traditions and how it impacts our climate. We have Prerna Tirupati ji joining us today. Prerna ji, namaste and welcome
Namaste.
to Chitty Media.
Thank you, Sharanji. Thank you so much for having me on Chitty Media.
It's a pleasure to have you again. You joined us for a Vaishali dialogue a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of our audience has responded very well to what you had to say. So I thought you could do great justice to this subject. And first of all, wishing you and your family a belated Deepavali wish.
Same to you. Happy Diwali.
So, Prerna ji, tell me this. What does the data talk about in terms of pollution on Diwali? Is it a matter of great concern for us? Can you give us the reality check?
Okay. So, Sharanji, we will go by what the Central Pollution Control Board says, the CPCB, right? So I have a few notes over here regarding the latest 2021 records by the CPCB. And what it says here is that the stubble burning, stubble burning specifically in North India contributes to 36% of the pollution. Then construction work, which is happening in these areas like Gurgaon and all those developing areas, that contributes to about 30%. And emission from vehicles, specifically diesel vehicles, contributes to 28%. So 94% of the pollution is due to these three factors. These three factors, and this is throughout the year, 365 days.
Right. So,
even though people say that the stubble burning is seasonal, what happens is, according to this CPCB report, they say that this is for 365 days.
Right.
Across India. Yeah.
So interesting. Talking specifically about fireworks and Deepavali or Diwali, why is it important to burst firecrackers? Because what a lot of people, especially the youths, who may not be as informed as all of you are saying is that, it's enough to light diyas and it's not required to burst firecrackers because it's never been a part of our tradition. Is this actually right?
No, actually it's not. Thing is, if we go through our ancient texts or we see, the Rig Veda and, or we see mentions of Veda Vyasas, Sanskrit shlokas, we have something called the Ulka Danam. So Ulka Danam or the Ulka Pradarshana has been, an essential part of the Deepavali celebrations. Right. It has always been there. And there is the reason it has been a custom is it has to do with the worship of our ancestors. As you know, as Hindus who follow Sanatana Dharma, we also give equal importance to our ancestors, the Pitru Puja that we do. So after Mahalya Amavasya, we believe that our ancestors who had come down to the Bhuloka, to earth, are now going back to the Pitru Loka, or to so to guide the Jivatmas back. I don't want to use the word soul, but to guide them back. This ulka or lights or firecrackers have always been used. And this is mentioned in all our ancient texts. This is not something new. So if the youngsters don't go through their own, Hindu literature and just say, based on their feelings,
Right.
that's not right. We have Shastra Pramana for this, that we've always had Ulkadam.
Thank you for that, Prerna ji. Now, speaking in terms of the history of Sivakasi, not a lot of people are aware about how big a deal it is in Sivakasi and how many thousands of people it probably employs. So, for the benefit of our viewers, especially for those who may not be as aware of the subject as you are, can you explain us the history of Sivakasi and how it became an economic hub later on?
So I wasn't aware about Sivakasi myself until we started facing this resistance and flack regarding bursting crackers and high court notices. So I'm also a beginner and a learner. The thing is, Sivakasi, which is there in Tamil Nadu, in this district called Vrudunagar. Okay, Vrudunagar district is where Sivakasi is, and it employs over 250,000 people. Right. Over 250,000 people, and the industry is estimated to be about 20 billion. And this has a very fantastic history as well. If you go through the history of Sivakasi, this city has been employing people 365 days of the year, and it is giving employment opportunities to over 10 lakh people directly and indirectly.
Right.
So these workers are solely dependent on fireworks, for their livelihood. And the interesting history about Sivakasi is there were two brothers from the Nadar community. So there was Ayya Nadar and his brother Shanmuga Nadar, who actually went to Kolkata in 1923, I think, if I'm not wrong, 1923. They went to Kolkata and they learned this art of making fireworks, and they employed their entire Nadar community in this industry.
Right.
So essentially, these two brothers, the dedication with which they passed on the skill of firecracker making and everything has been going on non-stop. So it's an unbroken chain within the Nadar community, and the Nadar community comes under the OBC, other backward class community.
Right.
So this is a huge employment and financial opportunity for them. That a blanket ban on crackers, whether it's green crackers, blue, red, white, whatever, is hurting the industry and that community badly. The entire district gets disturbed because of these sort of bans.
Right. And Sivakasi went on to be known as Kutti Japan or Small Japan because of its contribution to economic growth, specifically in Tamil Nadu. So could you speak about that a little bit in terms of how it really helped Tamil Nadu develop?
So the thing is, we've always had firecrackers in West Bengal. Right. So until these two Nadar brothers came down to Sivakasi and started this business, the Nadar community was basically dependent on farming and agriculture, and actually the Nadar community are the people who climb up those palmyra trees and take out the palmyra sap, the sugar syrup. That was the industry. The men and women were involved in that. Okay, so once this firecracker industry came in, they started getting employment, and it became an industry on its own, not a small scale cottage industry, but a huge, $20 billion industry. 5,000 crores per year is the amount of money they make. So that contributes substantially to our economy. And it's called Kutti Japan because each place has its own manufacturing units.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the high standards of manufacturing, and also we need to keep in mind that this industry is a high-risk industry.
Right.
These people who are employed in the firecracker industry, it's called Kutti Japan because of the scale of the industry, okay, and the ingenuity and everything. That is why it's called Kuti Japan. But we also need to keep in mind that it's a high risk industry. These people are not insured. They do not have workplace insurance or anything like that. So, it's an inflammable product that they work with. There are chemicals involved. So even with great personal risk, they are still working in this industry, and there are very few people who know the skill. It's a high skill job. It's not a something that anybody could just learn overnight. They've been doing it for generations now.
It's such an irony, because Bengalis seem to have really brought this art and craft to India, or at least introduced it to Tamil Nadu, and it's become big today. And it's such an irony that today Bengalis are leading the fight against firecrackers. I mean, if we develop the recent case.
Apparently, Sharanji, this firecracker industry has been in Kolkata since 1892, right, in this Das Gupta family. 1892, that's how far back it is as an industry.
Well, we are seeing what we are seeing today in Kolkata, and it's really distressing about the developments there. But coming back to what's happening in Tamil Nadu, I mean, of course, with the Dravidian discourse coming into politics, a lot of things have changed for the Hindus, because culturally, Tamil Nadu happens to be one of the richest states in India, right, in terms of its cultural diversity and everything else. But you see a pushback from the Dravidian side of it, in terms of them not helping these industries, in terms of them not recognizing and incentivizing people who promote culture and traditions in Tamil Nadu. So how has Sivakasi as an industry survived all of these, and what are the challenges?
So the thing is, Sivakasi has been facing a problem ever since independence. It's not something new. And right, also the high court orders in each state has its own different high court orders, and the Supreme Court every year keeps adding a new ingredient to their list, saying that the firecrackers cannot have this ingredient in it. So earlier in 2017, the Supreme Court had banned the use of antimony, lithium, mercury, arsenic, lead, strontium chromate, and now is the turn of barium. All these chemicals are harmful. That's why there's a ban on it. Okay, that's completely understandable. But the thing is, for the industry to keep up these standards, maintaining that standard of not having these harmful chemicals in their firecrackers is also a challenge. And because Sivakasi is the place from where the firecrackers are distributed across India, right, that also creates a problem when it comes to the let's say the employment, in terms of employment as well, because the entire industry is there in Sivakasi. There's no opportunity anywhere else. The states which have banned the crackers also lead to people being laid off, or fired from their jobs. That has also been happening, and this is Indian Express that has actually covered this story. Okay, how the ban is affecting the employment in the Sivakasi industry. Coming back to the DMK and to the Dravidian politics, the Dravidian politics since time immemorial has always targeted Hindu festivals. Any Hindu custom, tradition, festival, they have been targeting it across Tamil Nadu. It's not just the firecracker industry. It could be the the art, the sari industry. It could be anything. The Dravidians have always had a problem only with anything that is even remotely got to do with Hinduism.
Right.
So instead of providing an alternative form of employment to this Nadar community, to the Sivakasi firecracker employees, they just say that let's have a total ban on it, let's stop it, and this is all in the name of climate change. The best thing is, most of the climate change, the people who are complaining about climate change don't look at the data. Most of them might be school dropouts, all the Greta Thunbergs and all these people, they're not very, unfortunately, they're not very educated and don't come from a place where they can, come and speak to us regarding data or stats or anything. They have not even been to school. And even with the DMK, I say the same thing about them as well. They're not very educated. They're all school dropouts. They're not even graduates.
Right.
And then they talk about climate change because that's the, in woke thing to be doing. Target any Hindu in the name of woke, the woke culture. It's a good thing.
In terms of that, how do you foresee things going ahead in Tamil Nadu, especially for the Sivakasi industry? Keeping these two major factors in mind, one is the increase in woke culture, and their, even for that matter, children are growing very environmentally conscious, but in a slightly misled way. But nevertheless, it's a very good thing that the younger generation is more actionable about climate change, and also keeping in mind the Dravidian politics and its vicious nature against Hindu festivals. How do you see this developing in the future?
Okay, so you've asked me two questions. So coming to children, I agree with you. It's a very good thing that our children are becoming socially conscious and aware, and they're concerned about the environment. That's a brilliant thing. Okay, all of us, adults, children, all of us need to be concerned about the environment. Geographical location, it doesn't matter. Now, coming to that, then we should also encourage our children to become vegetarian, because non-vegetarian food industry contributes the most to the climate change. Right. You can read, there's several books that have been written on this. I could recommend Cownomics by Aarti Agarwalji, which is, wonderfully explains this with all the data and stats. So children giving up Diwali firecrackers in the name of environmentalism for that 1 or 2 days in a year, personally, it doesn't make sense to me. Because that is a custom, that is a tradition that has been going on since, thousands of years. We are talking from the time of Veda Vyasa, we are talking, Treta Yuga, So that is something that continuity, that cultural continuity has to remain, according to me. Personally, for Sanatana Dharma to thrive and survive and everything, this cultural continuity needs to be there. Now, coming to the DMK politics, Sivakasi and all these industries have survived DMK. They have survived it even before the time of Periyar. This is pre-independence also. They were there. They still continue to be there. And the thing is, firecrackers are not burst only during Diwali. It's only during those 3 days of Diwali that these woke people complain that, there is pollution, there is smog, there's this and there's that. But that industry works 365 days a year. People burst crackers, especially celebrities, big celebrities, cricketers, Bollywood film stars, and all these people. They burst crackers during their cricket matches, during their marriages, during their film releases, during all celebrations, firecrackers are used 365 days in a year. Yeah. Whether it is New Year or whether it is Christmas as well. Firecrackers are...
I've observed one more pattern. Whenever there is a news by any quote-unquote liberal media outlet about pollution during Diwali, Delhi is the only example that is cited. Well, I mean, does it mean that people outside of Delhi, all around India, do not burst firecrackers, or isn't there pollution there?
No, see, that's not the thing. The thing is, firecrackers are burst across India, and I have stats about how many arrests have been made in this 2021 Deepavali in Chennai and Kolkata, in several places where there was a firecracker ban, despite the Supreme Court notice. Overruling the High Court orders. So the coming back to the point that why Delhi is taken as the standard is because that is our capital city. Whether it is our international media, whether it's the BBC or Al Jazeera or any of these media outlets, they always take into consideration Delhi's smog index. Right. Because it's our capital city. And also the thing is, unfortunately, because Delhi lies around those areas where agriculture, whether it's the, Haryana and the surrounding areas across Delhi, where the Punjab and all those farmers who actually burn their stubble, it comes to Delhi. And that's why and also the industry in Delhi, in the outskirts of Delhi state as well. There are a lot of farmlands. There are also industrial areas from which smog, stubble burning, that cement chemical industries, all are based in and around Delhi area.
Right.
That's why the pollution over there is more. And of course, because it's our capital city, there's also the carbon footprint of cars and other industries, diesel.
It becomes an easy metric to gauge, right?
Yeah, easy metric.
Well, we'll see how this keeps forward. But one positive note is that it seems like a lot of people are observing this as a civil disobedience movement, because you've been taught, you've been shamed into not bursting crackers, that people are now taking pride in bursting them. And in fact, I think this year recorded one of the highest sales in the past few years, right?
Yes. And also probably the pandemic is to blame, because since the last 2 years there was a lockdown and families were not able to celebrate properly. I'm not sure if this was a defiance or a reactionary sort of behavior from the Hindu community. But yes, data suggests that we have burst a lot more crackers, and also the firecracker industry has seen an increase in the sales as well.
Right.
Most of the reactions, I think, as Hindus that we give are reactionary because of years of being suppressed. Our voices, our culture, any of our traditions, anything that we want to celebrate, whether it's like, the waterless Holi.
Right. Yeah.
Crackerless Diwali. So the list keeps going on.
Yeah. Right. Well, again, maybe we can meet on some of the festival to discuss about this whole culture and how
always good to be speaking to you.
But thank you so much for joining us today, and it was a very informative session, and I hope a lot of youngsters especially watch this session, because there's a lot of data involved here. There's a very reasonable argument put forth by Prerna ji, and I hope she'll be able to convince all of you to burst more firecrackers. Thank you so much, Prerna ji.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having me on your show, Sharan ji. Pleasure to speak to you all the time. Thank you.
Pleasure to speak to you as well. And to all our viewers, please do like, share, and subscribe to Chitti Media. My name is Sharan Sethi, signing off.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.